0559-019-177. At the appropriate time, when I pick signals from my production team, I shall activate the phone lines for you to contribute to the discussion via phone calls. My name is Kennedy Mona. Let's go for this quick break. We'll bounce back and we'll continue the show. Please stay.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goil Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goil Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goil Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water. Or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the IC covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
All right, so you're welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at happenings in the port and maritime industry in the country. And in the course of the week, the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority joined the rest of the world to celebrate World Customs Day. That was in the course of the week. And the fact that MPS, Meridian Port Services, also has signed a purchase agreement to acquire 15 brand new state-of-the-art gantry cranes to enhance operations at Terminal 3 in the port of Tema. Let's take a look at these stories.
The Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority on Wednesday, January 26, joined the rest of the world to mark the International Customs Day. The International Customs Day is celebrated every year to recognize the role of customs officials and agencies in maintaining the flow of goods across the world's borders. It also affords the World Customs Organization, national customs, and their stakeholders the opportunity to showcase their efforts and activities. This year's International Customs Day was celebrated under the theme, Scaling Up Customs Digital Transformation by Embracing a Data Culture and Building a Data Ecosystem. The Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Reverend Ameshadai Owusu-Amoah, revealed that the GRA will introduce a data warehouse system to integrate the data of customs with domestic tasks as well as third-party data.
And this data warehouse system will ensure that the customs data is integrated into the domestic tax data and also integrated into third-party data, which includes the DV, LA, lands, and many other departments translate, and the rest. And this is going to be a huge database that allows for cross-referencing and identifying opportunities for compliance as far as tax payments are concerned. I must say that this project is far advanced, and we are expecting that it will be completed by the middle of this year.
The Commissioner of Customs, Kenel Kwejo-Damwa, delivering a speech on behalf of the Secretary General of the World Customs Organization, Dr. Kunio Mikuruya, urged customs worldwide to build data ecosystems and consolidate existing ones.
To build data ecosystems or consolidate existing ones, the following enabling actions may be considered. 1. Establishing formal data governance to ensure the relevance, accuracy, and timeliness of data. 2. Making use of the standards developed by the World Customs Organization and other institutions regarding data format and data exchange. 3. Providing appropriate management of data to ensure that the right people have access to the right data and that data protection regulations are respected.
The Director of Revenue Policy at the Ministry of Finance, George Winfo, speaking on behalf of the Minister, Ken Oforiatta, lauded the GRA for exceeding the revenue target and spurred them on to even exceed the 80.3 billion cedis target set for 2022.
The digitalization program has seen the introduction of several systems, including the implementation of the Integrated Customs Management System and the Ghana.gov, the successes of which cannot be overemphasized. In fact, it has enhanced custom processes and to some extent helped to reduce revenue leakages at our ports as well as improve our revenue forecast.
The Director of Operations at Ghana Link Network Services, Raymond Amaglu, in his presentation on the Integrated Customs Management System, touched on what is to be expected from the Phase 2 of the ICUMS implementation.
You should be expecting even more improved and enhanced services from ICUMS in the coming months. The first one is authorized economic operators. We are currently running a pilot with some importers, exporters, and terminal operators. Once it is successful, it will be deployed. We have the advanced passenger information system. This will be used at the airport for profiling of both cargo and passengers, and to ensure that the right duties are collected appropriately. Then we have the post-clearance audit. We have the e-wallet module. This is supposed to serve as a repository where you have made excess payments. You need to follow on it subsequent transactions with customs. You are able to use that.
The International Customs Day celebration was also used to reward outstanding customs officials. Meridian Port Services Limited has signed a $53.31 million purchase agreement with Shanghai Zhenhua Heavy Industries Company Limited to supply 15 additional gantry cranes for Terminal 3 at the Port of Tema. A virtual signing ceremony was held on Tuesday, January 18, to commemorate the execution of this agreement by the CEO of MPS, Mohamed Samara, along with the President and Chairman of ZPMC, Louis Chenyong. At a courtesy call by management of MPS to the Ministry of Transport after the signing event, the CEO of MPS debriefed the Minister of Transport along with executives of Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, where they expressed their joy about the additional investment in Ghana's port capacity. The CEO of MPS emphasized that several shipping lines were attracted to put MPS Terminal 3 to the test as a potential transshipment hub, and MPS has stood the test and is poised to consolidate its position in the sub-region. The Minister of Transport, Kweku Foresiama, was delighted to note that Ghana has taken the lead in the sub-region with investment in its ports and living out its vision of making the country the leading container hub and beacon of trade and industry in West Africa. The Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Michael Lugoje, acknowledged the successful partnership between GPHA, Bolore Transport and Logistics, and APM Terminals in the creation of the Meridian Port Services Limited. The shortage of shipping containers needed to facilitate the maritime trade has become as much of a national issue as it is a global phenomenon. It has been widely reported that the contents of many containers sitting in the ports of Ghana remain uncleared or abandoned by their owners. This has led to some level of congestion in the port space, as well as posing negative revenue implications to government. Notably, shipping lines, who are the custodians or owners of these boxes, are most hit by the non-clearance of containers. Against this background, the Ship Owners and Agents Association Ghana has mobilized resources to evacuate about 200 empty containers from the state warehouse in the port of Tema back to the custody of the various shipping lines. Detailing the processes that led to the evacuation exercise, the Executive Secretary of the Ship Owners and Agents Association Ghana, Perpetual Osei Bonsu, revealed that the evacuation was necessary following an accumulation of years of effort to have this done.
This principle has developed over the years that containers are used for constructive warehousing to support the system, because the system cannot or does not have enough warehouses to take over the cargo. So shipping lines also play a part by supporting, but then they turn out to be victims. Now that you have allowed your containers to be used as warehouse, over the years it becomes a battle in a sense to get them back.
Chairman of the Technical Committee of SOAG, Mark Cluche, explained the dire consequences unreturned boxes have on the business of shipping lines.
People think shipping lines own all the containers. So for instance, you see a shipping line having, say, 100 containers in the country. About 60 of them are leased. So there are companies in Europe who are also specialized in leasing containers. That's all they do. So look at a shipping line leasing a container, say 3 months, and you pay daily, depending on what the agreement is. The container lands here, and for some reason, no fault of customs, okay, it goes into UCL. What we expect customs to do, per the rules, is to auction the cargo.
He said, while uncleared cargoes are not a making of customs, the expectation is that customs will speedily expedite processes following the detention of uncleared cargoes.
We would have to get to a point where customs will play to the rules, okay? You have situations where containers have been moved to state warehouse, okay? They've been there for 3-4 years. Then you see containers that are, say, 30-45 days being auctioned. One would want to ask, why?
The executives of SOAG also called for rehabilitation of the state warehouse in order for it to better accommodate uncleared cargo.
We have situations where containers are empty and shipping lines cannot get access to their containers simply because state warehouse lacks space. So when my container is auctioned and other containers are emptied, they still use your empty container for storage. That is one. The second part of it is that because state warehouse is not properly structured, you have situations where you have an empty container sitting on the ground and you have full containers sitting on it mixed up. So even if you are ready to go pick your empty container, you do not have access to it because it is buried in the stack.
And we are just in from a meeting where these observations are going to be, put in a document and sent to them so that with any help we can also give from our end, at least we will ensure that the place is put in a more efficient, can be put in a more efficient use for the benefit of all stakeholders.
All right, so you're welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at happenings in the port and maritime industry on the international stage.
Swiss-Italian shipping line Mediterranean Shipping Company, currently the world's largest ocean carrier, has decided to reroute its ships on the west coast of Greece in a swift action to reduce the risk of collision with endangered sperm whales in the Mediterranean. According to the company, the decision followed the discussion with 4 major environmental non-governmental organizations, and MSC is now the first major shipping line to reroute all of their container vessels in this area to safeguard the critical habitat for the subpopulation of whales. Pirates boarded a tanker working as a bunkering vessel in the Gulf of Guinea region and reportedly stole cargo from the ship before leaving. Initial reports had indicated a possible hijacking, but the crew was unharmed and reported safe. Security analysts have raised a warning, noting that the incident occurred further west of most of the historic activity in the region, with the culprit suspected of departing from Ghana. The European Union intends to carry on with the deployment of its member states' warships in the Gulf of Guinea to stem the recurring menace of piracy. After a review of the Coordinated Maritime Presences pilot program, in which member states have been deploying warships to the region over the past 2 years, the EU feels it needs to maintain its presence, considering the ongoing threat of piracy and other illegal activities in the Gulf of Guinea. The bloc is proposing a 2-year extension of the CMP mandates starting January this year and has outlined deployments of Danish, French, Italian, Portuguese and Spanish warships into the region.
All right, so you're welcome back. It's now time for us to zoom into our discussion proper tonight. And in the course of the week, as you saw in the earlier stories that you watched, that's the local stories, you realize that the Ghana Link Network Services, they are operators of the Integrated Customs Management System, also took part in the World Customs Day celebrations. And indeed, they actually gave a presentation there. The Director of Operations, Raymond Amaglu, you saw him in that shot there, who delivered a presentation at the celebrations. And the customs has a technical partner, and the Ghana Link Network Services and ICUMS, for that matter, is their technical partner. They provide technical assistance to customs to facilitate trade in our ports. And so we can say that the customs cannot effectively prosecute their mandate without the support of the technical partners. That's how important and crucial they are in terms of trade facilitation. And so tonight we have in the studios Mr. Raymond Amaglu. Like I said, he's the Director of Operations at Ghana Link Network Services, operators of the Integrated Customs Management System, ICUMS. We're expecting that they'll be rolling out the phase 2 this year. I want to take stock of what has happened in the past year, how far they've come. There seems to be a unanimous agreement. The stakeholders in the port industry seem to be united in their conviction that the ICUMS system is the best for Ghana in terms of trade facilitation. They said it's perfect. And so we want to see what next from this first phase that they've ruled out. And so we have him in the studios tonight to discuss the matter. And so let me say a very good evening to you, Mr. Amaglu, and welcome to our board once again. We're happy to have you.
Good evening, Kennedy.
Happy New Year.
I'm happy to be here, and Happy New Year to you.
Absolutely. You look good.
Thank you.
All right, so you took part in the World Customs Day celebrations. That was last week, and we saw you there in the shot giving your presentation. We just want to find out from you, and you also got an award on that day.
We did.
Tell us about it.
Kennedy, we were privileged to be invited by our main partners for the deployment of ICUMS, which is the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, to join them in the celebration of the World Customs Day. Indeed, like you mentioned, we were privileged to be given the opportunity to do a presentation on the digitalization efforts so far. Yeah. And to crown it all, we were also given an award by the Commissioner of Customs. Indeed, it was very heartwarming that the institution for whom the system was actually developed, the owners of the system, after the deployment of the system over the past 1.5 or so years, have come to the conclusion that our support, our commitment, and our delivery is commendable, and they give us a wonderful citation, and we were so glad. In fact, we dedicate the award to all the stakeholders who contributed in no small way to ensure the successful deployment of ICUMS, and after the deployment, the usage and the feedback for continuous improvement up until this time. So we are very happy, and we are grateful to the GRE for the support up until now.
All right. So the theme for this year's World Customs Day celebration seems to have fallen in line with what exactly you're doing at the port, and it says scaling up customs digital transformation by embracing a data culture and building data ecosystem. That was the theme for the celebration.
That's right.
And so you did a presentation. Can you walk us through the presentation you gave there and what exactly you seem to hammer on that was so important to you?
Okay. The goal of customs is to ensure electronic systems for their processes rather than the use of paper. in order for this to be achieved, there is the need for customs itself to have a system that is able to effectively connect to the systems that are being used by the various government agencies and businesses across the trade supply chain. That is where GhanaLink and ICUMS comes in. So with the system that we have provided to customs, the customs division of the Ghana Revenue Authority have been able to overcome certain very key trade challenges. If you talk about paperless customs, over the period, this has been largely achieved, or let me say fully achieved rather. You talk about trade facilitation. You talk about the need to collect optimum and fair taxes and duties from declarants, and the need to improve the security of our borders. The ICUMS system has provided that facility, that enablement, so that we now have an end-to-end system where all the stakeholders across the supply chain are connected to the system, and there is information, real-time information available to all players for their various activities.
Right.
Currently, we do not need any paper processes at the port. All agencies who need to verify or confirm one thing or the other have the needed accesses and are able to do so. All the approvals you require are done electronically, and declarants are able to see this at their front end. So, just like you mentioned, what we have been doing over the years coincides with the theme that customs had for the celebration. So my presentation that day was to express what we have achieved and what we intend to do going forward.
All right, great. Thank you very much indeed. So let's now zoom into the discussion, effectively. And I wanted to tell us what ICUMS has been up to, in the past years, before 2022.
Okay. So ICUMS, as you know, is
just a general overview of what you have been doing.
What I've been doing as a company. So GhanaLink Network Services Limited are the developers of the ICUMS system. Now, GhanaLink is a wholly Ghanaian-owned company, limited liability company, registered in 2001. In 2003, we went into the destination inspection business.
Yes.
In fact, GhanaLink is an IT solutions company, but we focus mainly on trade facilitation solutions.
Right.
So in 2003, we went into an agreement with the government to provide destination inspection services.
And you were one of the destination inspection companies.
Yes, there were 5.
Absolutely, yes.
And Kennedy, I'm proud to say we were the only indigenous company in the terrain.
Okay.
So we provided this service from 2003 up until 2015. At the end of the contract, we were also awarded another contract to provide external verification services for the Customs Technical Service Bureau. This we did from 2015 up until 2018. All this while, we've been providing non-intrusive cargo scanning services at our airport, at our seaports, Tema and Takoradi, and a number of our border points. Then in 2018, the government engaged us to provide an end-to-end e-customs trade facilitation system for the Ghana Revenue Authority Customs Division. This we are doing in collaboration with our technical partners from Courier. The Courier Customs Service have developed this trade facilitation tool called the Unipass.
Right.
Unipass means Universal Pass.
Yeah, sure.
This is what they are using in Korea, and they have exported to a number of countries across the world.
Including Ghana.
Including Ghana, yes. They have an agency who are responsible for assisting other countries to take up this system. This agency is the Customs Unipass International Agency, which is CUPIA.
All right, yeah.
So they work closely with the Courier Customs Service. So they are our technical partners for the deployment of the ICUMS system. So the ICUMS system is mainly based on the Unipass system.
Okay.
This we have rolled out from March 2000. We started the deployment from the borders, and then by April we had hit the Takoradi port, and then we had subsequently gone to the airport. We had added the downstream petroleum management.
Yeah.
And then eventually, on the 1st of June 2000, we deployed the system at the Tema port. The Tema port being the largest port for our port operations. We have also deployed the system at the airport. And Kennedy, as I speak to you now, ICUMS is deployed across all the 16 regions of Ghana.
Okay.
In excess of 155 customs operational sites and offices.
155.
155 customs operational sites and offices across the country are connected on ICUMS, and customs are performing all their functions on the system as I speak to you now.
Wow. That is quite impressive. And you have covered all the entry and exit points as well.
We have.
Okay, that's the borders.
All the borders.
Across.
All the borders across the country, the airports.
So they are included in the 155 operational sites that you mentioned?
They are.
Okay.
They are.
All right, so let's take a look at the modules you have rolled out. Let's talk about the first phase.
Okay.
This particular phase that we're talking about right now, before we, come later into the phase 2, which is of interest to most people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a strategic decision to deploy ICUMS in phases, and we agreed on 2 phases with customs. So for the first phase, ICUMS is an integrated modular system. So there are a number of modules which are interacting and working together as a complete system.
Right.
For the first phase, we have broadly deployed 6 modules. The first is the clearance management module, which manages all the import, export processes, custom related. We have the cargo management module. This manages all the import, export processes, transit processes. And Kennedy, the good thing is that we also, for the cargo management module, we have this cargo tracking feature, such that at every point in time, the location of the cargo at the port can be determined on the system. So with your BL number, with your cargo, a unique cargo reference number, with your BOE number, you are able to tell exactly the location of your cargo at the port.
Right.
This is embedded in the cargo management model. Then we have the risk management model. This manages the risk activities on ICUMS.
Right.
And the good thing is that all the activities that the clearance perform feed into their risk profiles, including customs offense reports, post-clearance audit reports, investigation reports, all these after activities after you have taken the goods out of the port, they go back to feed the risk engine. So we have a very robust risk engine to manage our risk processes on the system. We also have the single window. The single window manages all the MDAs, all the agencies who are involved in the issuing of licenses, permits, certificates, and others.
Is a single window a separate module?
It's a separate module.
Okay. So that's 4. You mentioned 4.
Yes.
That's the clearance, cargo, risk management, and single module.
Yes.
Okay.
So the single window.
Single window, yeah.
Yes. It connects all these agencies onto the system. So what happens is that when you are doing a declaration to customs and your cargo requires attention from, say, Food and Drugs Authority, Environmental Protection Agency, Ghana Standards Authority, any of the agencies, you make the application and they all receive your application at once. You don't need to make separate applications to the various agencies. The one application you make, they all receive, and all the processes they are going through at their end, you, the declarant, you have a view of it.
Right.
And up until the time when they approve your application, all this is done electronically. You don't need to submit any paper documents.
Right.
Now, the advantage here is that once a declaration is made, all the agencies...
Okay, I think there's something showing on the screen now, and that's some of the...
Yes, this is the risk management engine talking about.
Selectivity feedback mechanism.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
So all the activities, right from the submission of the BOE, the various activities that are performed by customs, the documents you submit, they do their verification and their checks.
Yes.
They are feeding the system with whatever information they are obtaining.
Right.
Now, at the end of the day, the customs offense report.
Yes.
There is an infraction. It goes into the engine. Post-clearance audit.
Yes.
Goes into the engine.
You have to talk into your camera.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So, and then all the investigation activities that are performed, the reports goes into the engine, and it affects your profile in your subsequent transactions with customs. So I was talking about models.
Yes.
Then we also have
that's after single window model. You are giving us a fifth one.
Yes.
Which is
the portal management model.
Okay.
There are two portals actually.
Okay.
The first portal is the internal portal. This is exclusively where customs perform their functions.
Okay.
And then we have the external portal. This is where all other stakeholders perform their functions, and there's a firewall between the two. And this manages the activities on the platform.
Yeah.
And then we have the collection model, which manages all the bill creation, bill payments, bond, insurance processes on ICUMS. So in broad terms, these are the 6 models that we have deployed so far.
Which one is the last one you mentioned?
Collection.
Collection, okay.
Collection model.
Oh, okay. That's the safe one. So that's for the first phase?
Yes, for the first phase. In addition to this, we have also deployed an e-tracking system for all of the customs suspense regimes. So we're talking about transit goods, warehousing goods, all those goods for which you would not pay the duties and taxes. We do the tracking, and this is done on the system. And at every step of the way, the system provides a feedback or an indication of where the cargo is. If the cargo, say, is moving from here to, let's say, Nigeria, but at every customs checkpoint, there is a check on the cargo, and input is made into the system up until the point where, let's say, if it's exiting from Aflao, then the customs will do an exit of the cargo. So there is proper monitoring of such a cargo to ensure that they are not diverted. So this is an additional function we are performing with the rollout of the first phase.
Yeah. All right. So I'm particularly interested in the risk management module.
Okay.
And you mentioned the fact that, yes, it takes care of the risks associated with operations of the system. Can you tell us what some of these risks are? When you talk about risk, to me, I just straightforward as a layperson look at the where I go to scan my goods at the scanner site, and then we have red, we have gold, we have green. Red means intrusive inspection. You would have to inspect 100%. Gold meaning maybe just, something small. And green means, you have passed. You can just go. No need to inspect. Is that what you're talking about?
Exactly. So at the time when you have submitted your declarations to customs, they do an analysis, and then based on certain criteria, they give you a certain risk level. Of course, there are some items for which the profile per the request of various government agencies is supposed to be, say, red, like you mentioned, which is intrusive scanning. So, I mean, even if you have been compliant in all of your declarations, take, for example, a declaration of a used vehicle, you mandatorily would have to go through physical examination because it's a profile that requires, such a procedure. But otherwise, all the infractions, some people tend to underdeclare. Some people tend to misdescribe the goods, all in the bid to sometimes evade the payment of the actual or proper duties and taxes. All this information, some people tend to misinform customs with their declaration. All this goes to feed into the engine, and it gives a profile of who you are. And in your subsequent transactions, the system determines that you probably should be taking a serious look should be taken at you, even including post-clearance. All this feeds into the risk system. Some people also, by the time they have brought in the goods are not wholesome, and they are supposed to have ensured that these goods are wholesome, and all these details are fed into the engine.
I know that one of the key modules that you work with very often is the cargo management one, because we're basically talking about the cargo, and that's why all these modules have been rolled out. Tell us about it, the cargo management module.
Indeed, it is one of the major modules on ICUMS. The good thing is that all the operators at the port who perform cargo-related activities are all connected to this model. So we have the GPHA, we have the MPS, we have the terminal, that is the terminal operators. Yes. We have the ICDs, we have the
inland container depots.
Inland container depots. We have the safe-borne terminal. We have the Golden Jubilee. All those agencies who have roles, various roles to play, are connected. So what happens is that the activities are monitored by all of them. And if there is a role or a function you're supposed to perform and you haven't performed, you're not able to proceed to the next because they are able to see at their end that you haven't performed the role. So there is a lot of monitoring which is available. And because all the systems are connected, there is free flow of very relevant and timely information for all the stakeholders, for them to be able to perform their functions. Right. So, for example, by the time you have done your scanning at the say, take for example at the MPS, and say it is a grain container. Right. By the time the officer releases the cargo, the boom at the exit gate has received a notification. Right. So you are able to just take delivery of your cargo right from the scanner point, and you are out of the terminal. Right. Because it is green, you don't need to do any physical examination. So there is very good connectivity between the systems and collaboration between the various players. So it has ensured that there is proper management of cargo. Right. Every cargo at the port can be accounted for. Every movement, and even if you have to move cargo from one terminal to the other or one ICD to the other, there's something we call in the system container movement request. Right. You have to make a request on the system. This must be approved. So there is very good cargo management because of the connectivity of all the players on the system.
All right. So the next one, which is key to me, that I don't care about the rest, but it's also very important. That's a clearance management model. That was the first one you even mentioned. And so it tells you in the hierarchy or scheme of things, it is the topmost. Tell us about the clearance. That's where you have this, hula baloo, with freight forwarders, with importers, with, everybody that matters in terms of clearance of cargo at the port. So tell us about the clearance management model.
The clearance management model starts with the BOE declaration process. Now, this is currently done electronically. Now, Kennedy, I may just quickly add that we have a number of clearance plans you can take advantage of. Right. Maybe before I even talk about the plan, let me talk about the two clearance options you have. We have the BOE declaration, which is the BOE, Bill of Entry Declaration.
Absolutely, okay.
Which is the general declaration for your import, export, or transit that you would normally do. Right. Then we have the pre-money, the BOE declaration, this declaration you are able to do. The name is just escaped me. Yeah, sure. You are able to do to take delivery of the cargo even before you.
Pre something,
Yeah, it's pre. Yeah, sure. I will confirm before. Right. Yeah. Even before you you go through the
pre-arrival
processes. No, it's not pre-arrival. Okay. I'll confirm and make that note. All right. Okay. So then we come to the various clearance plan options. The options you have. Yeah. We have the pre-arrival declaration. Right. Pre-manifest declaration. Okay. So with this one, even before the arrival of the vessel, once you have your bill of lading, you have your packing list, you have your invoice,
all the relevant documents,
you are able to make a declaration to customs. Right. So this starts the clearance process. Now, customs are also able to do an assessment of your submitted details and then provide you at your front end details of your tax bill. Right. The declarant is able to either accept or reject. Say you're not comfortable with the value you have been given for your duties and taxes, you can reject. Okay. The moment you reject, it starts an appeal process. Automatically, an appeal officer receives the document, and you're also able to attach whatever relevant documents you want to use to make your case. But where you accept the bill, you are able to immediately make payment. And a lot of payment options are available currently on ICUMS. Maybe I'll talk about that a bit later. But once that is done, you now just have to wait for the arrival of the cargo.
Right.
When the cargo arrives, then you go through the necessary processes at the port to take delivery of the cargo. So the collection process, the clearance process, once again, starts from the submission of the bill of entry details, right up until when you go to the port after examination, and then you take delivery of your cargo.
Right.
So that is how the clearance model works on ICUMS.
All right.
There are a number of other clearance options. If I may quickly mention
please.
Some of them.
Yeah, sure.
We have the. Let me just.
Because I think I even have that one here, the clearance options. That was one of the questions I was going to be asking you.
Okay.
Yes.
I was in my earlier comment. I was referring to release prior to BOE.
Yes.
Let's say you have perishable goods. You need to take them immediately they arrive at the port. If you have to go through the submission of BOE and go through the clearance process, you probably would have your goods perished at the port.
Yeah.
Maybe in some few hours you need to take delivery.
Yeah, sure.
So you're able to use the release prior to BOE.
Okay.
This, however, requires you to have a bond.
Okay.
So once you take the release prior to BOE option, you can take the good out of the port, and then you perfect it subsequently with customs. But I was talking about the clearance various options. We have mentioned about the pre-manifest declaration.
Yes.
There is the declaration post-manifest. This declaration you will do after the vessel has arrived or after a manifest has been submitted.
Right.
Then, so it's a normal declaration. Then there is the non-BL declaration.
Non-bill of lading declaration.
Non-bill of lading declaration. Okay. Take, for example, you are bringing a cargo load of, say, hide from Burkina Faso through Aflao. You would have to use the non-BL declaration because it doesn't require a BL to do the clearance at the port.
Yeah.
Then we have the courier goods declaration. This is used for the clearance of courier goods on ICUMS. Then we have the simplified goods declaration.
Right.
This is also used at the borders. So take, for example, you go to Togo, you go to buy some few items you are bringing to sell. Our traders who do small businesses, customs assists them with the simplified goods declaration to do the clearance of their goods at the port. Then we have the temporary vehicle importation. This say you are bringing a vehicle from our neighboring country, and you will be using it here for a period of time, and then you will go back. So you will do a temporary vehicle importation declaration with customs at the port.
Okay.
Then we have the ex-warehouse declaration. So where you have warehoused your goods and you need to take delivery of some or all, you make an application to customs to take advantage of this ex-warehouse declaration plan.
And then I think it's even showing on the screen.
Is that okay? So these are the phase 1 models.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can see clearance management, import clearance, export clearance. You have the portal management. That's internal portal management, external portal management, cargo management, import cargo, export cargo, transit cargo, cargo tracking.
Yes.
We have information management. That's risk management and customs data warehouse. We'll talk about data warehouse along the line as well.
Okay.
Single window. That's MDA related activities. That's LPCOs. What's LPCOs?
So for some imports or exports, by regulation, you are required to have a license. You are required to have a permit. You are required to have a certificate or some other document.
Right.
So all the agencies who perform this role are performing this role under the single window model. So this is where I explained that when you are making the application, the related HS codes for all the agencies have been fed into the system.
Right.
So at the time you are making that declaration, the system even signals you that these goods you require attention from FDA, GSA, EPA, whatever.
Yeah.
When you make the application, one application, they all receive your application and then they do the processing for you.
Right.
You are able to get your license certificate or your permit online. In some instances, you have to make payments. So once you have made the payments, the system signals them at their end, and the necessary approvals are given to you for you to be able to proceed with your clearance process.
All right, so you work with various stakeholders, various agencies and all that. So how are you as ICUMS able to ensure seamless information dissemination among these stakeholders? Because if we don't have the fluidity of information flow, we're bound to run into troubles. How are you ensuring that you balance this?
Very good question, Kennedy. what we have done is to bring all these stakeholders on board the system. Those of them who have their individual systems, we have also connected to our system. So this ensures very timely sharing of information.
Right.
And this enables them to perform their roles, and they have all the required information, and where they do not, they are also able to make requests right on the system. So you mentioned you were going to talk about the data
warehousing. Yeah, that's my next question. Actually,
this is where the data warehouse comes in.
Yes.
So it's the repository of all the transactions that are happening on the system. We have a state-of-the-art data center located somewhere in the ministries, which houses the data. So this data warehouse gives information to the necessary stakeholders who require the information for their view, for their analysis, for their planning, and even for their risk management.
Right.
So there is this sharing of information with all the related agencies based on whatever transactions are happening on ICUMS.
All right. Okay. So let's now that you've explained what data warehousing is, let's take a look at the cargo tracking system. You mentioned it along the line. How effective is it, the e-tracking and the devices that you've deployed, currently? Last week we had a customs officer here, and he spoke very well about it. He said it was very effective. It was a good thing that you guys have rolled out. So tell us about it.
Thank you. What we have done is to provide devices that are used to track this cargo, and these devices, the routes have been geofenced. Now, customs who are related to, say, transit, for example, they have a view of this system at their front end, and they are able to monitor the movement of the cargo right on their screens.
Right.
Where there is a diversion, there is an alert that is received, and then customs or national security, who also have an eye into this system, are able to take the necessary action. So the good thing is that the system, as has been deployed, provides real-time information on the movement of the cargo, and all the relevant stakeholders who are to ensure that the right thing is done are also having a view of the transactions.
Right.
And where they need to take action, they are able to. So if there's a diversion, an alert is received, and if customs have to take action or national security have to take action, they don't need anyone to come inform them. They have all the details available to them.
Right.
And then, like I mentioned, along the route, at the various customs checkpoints, when the truck gets to one checkpoint, the officers do a check and confirm in the system that indeed the truck has passed through this checkpoint, right up until when it exits our port. At the time of exit, the officer at the exit point will enter the details to confirm that indeed the cargo that, say, left Tema has eventually left Elubo, and it's out of our jurisdiction.
Right.
So this is how the e-tracking system. We have the long ropes, which we are able to use to tie the ones that have the tarpaulin covering them, and then we are able to lock with the e-tracking device. We have a picture. I don't know if they're able to show.
I think they showed it. They showed it. Yeah, just we saw it. The picture. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, sure. They showed it.
And this has largely curtailed the challenge with diversion. Kennedy, you know that once people haven't paid the duties as is required, because let's say it's transit, there's a tendency people would like to divert the good and find market for it within our jurisdiction. But with what we have deployed and with the attention that is given to this by customs, there is proper monitoring, and this has largely eliminated the diversion of transit cargo. Especially within our port transactions.
Right. Again, the customs officer we got last week lauded you so much for supplying them with wonderful tablets. But the challenge, internet, weak internet. Sometimes they would have to wait for hours before internet is restored for them to continue working when trucks are parked and queued. Indeed,
this is a challenge we have been grappling with for a while. There are certain parts of the country the internet facility is not the very best, But what we have done is to have redundancies. So say we have MTN, and then we have Vodafone, or we have Tigo, and therefore what happens is that if MTN is not operational at a certain point, the expectation is that Vodafone might be stronger in the area and should kick in. We don't always have it that way, and this is mainly an internet challenge we have as a nation. But otherwise, it's working very well.
Right. Okay. I hope that you really have a solution. You find a solution, to this, because it's, man hours, that kind of thing. It's not good. The guy says you are doing very well, but for this particular challenge, so I think that we would have to find ways of addressing it. All right, so viewers, this is IONPod here on Metropolitan Television, and tonight we are discussing, the rollout of phase 2 of ICUMS. When we come back, that's what we're going to get into. Okay. Yes, and how ICUMS has fared, over the years, and what they're up to at the moment, and what, we're looking forward to maybe in 2022, where they are rolling out the phase 2 of the implementation of ICUMS. And so for now, we'll go for a quick break. When we bounce back, we'll continue the discussion. Please stay with us.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goil Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goil Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goil Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Electricity, pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water, or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risks Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the IC covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects, and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
All right, so you're welcome back. I'm still with Mr. Raymond Amaglo, who is the Director of Operations at Ghana Link Network Services, the operators of the Integrated Customs Management System, ICUMS, at our ports and points of exit and entry. And we're discussing the phase 2 of ICUMS and what they have done so far as a company in terms of trade facilitation at our ports. And so let me come to you straight away and find out what we are expecting for phase 2 of ICUMS implementation. But before then, I've been told by my producer that I can activate my phone lines and the number to dial is 020 552-8353. 020-552-8353. You can call in and then ask my guest whatever question is bothering you, or if you want to contribute to the discussion, you are at liberty to do so. Pretty shortly, we shall be entering into the box and bringing you some of the messages that you have sent, for us to share with the rest of the world. Yes, so phase 2.
Okay. Kennedy, we are currently at very advanced stages with the development and deployment of phase 2 modules. As I mentioned, we agreed with customs to strategically do a 2-phase implementation. As I have explained, we are done with the first phase modules.
Yes.
We are currently on the second phase, and there are a number of them. In fact, there are over 15 modules that we are deploying. And like I mentioned, we are at very advanced stages. The expectation is that before the end of the first quarter, we should have been able to deploy the second phase modules.
Okay.
I will quickly mention them, and then maybe for the sake of time, I will focus on some of the very key ones that very much would interest our stakeholders.
Yeah.
So we have the authorized economic operators, the advanced passenger information system. This will be used at the airport, the post-clearance audit system, the e-wallet, the investigations, intelligence, and surveillance model, the transit data sharing with neighboring countries, customs, laboratory activities, duty drawback, risk scheduling of payments, performance management, state warehouse management, e-auction, downstream petroleum product stock management, and then fully built units, which is a system to support the government's automobile policy. We have a number that we have not even included in this write-up.
So how many are these? These
are 15.
You just listed. 15 modules for phase 2.
For phase 2.
And you said there are still additions that you are considering.
There are some more we are working on. And the goal is to ensure that our port clearance system compares favorably with whatever pertains in any advanced world. Like I mentioned, the Unipass system is a system that is already being used in some advanced countries.
Yeah.
So the goal is to match whatever it is that has been achieved in the advanced places. So maybe I'll quickly talk about the authorized economic operators.
Yeah, sure.
So this module is prescribed in Section 8 of the Customs Act 891, that is 2015, that all parties involved in dealings with customs should be able to apply to be AUs. So this includes importers, warehouse operators, terminal operators, transporters, manufacturers, all stakeholders who deal with customs across the supply chain. So it is to ensure there is an enhanced or improved customs to business collaboration. So this module is available for compliant traders.
Okay.
Compliant traders. So they apply to customs. They are provided with the SAQs. They fill these forms. Customs will do inspections and confirm. In fact, you even have to be a solvent company. Your dealings with customs over the period should show that you are compliant.
Right.
And then there are benefits that you would enjoy. You are given a fast track treatment of your cargo, and then there is fast processing of your declarations. There is very minimal cargo inspection for such people. And you are even able to select, if there is the need for physical examination, you are able to select where you want this to be done, even if you want this done in your own premises.
Okay.
Currently, the system is fully developed.
There's some element of flexibility.
Yes, there is. Yeah. And it's, like I said, it's for compliant traders.
Right.
You will go through a very vigorous application process before you are admitted by customs to enjoy that benefit. And the system is fully developed now. We are running the pilot with some of the terminal operators, importers and exporters. Once we are done with the pilot, we would be rolling out this model.
Well, how sure are you that people are not going to take advantage of it? If I have my friends out there who falls within this category, I can just say, Charlie, let them pass.
You like I mentioned.
How do you check them and ensure
there is a very
that they really merit that dispensation you are giving them?
It's a very vigorous application process you have to go through. I talked about the SAQs. self-assessment questionnaire, a tall list of questions you would have to answer. Then there is an investigation that is done by customs, even sometimes physically to your premises. If it's a manufacturing concern, there is a check of your books. There is a check of your records with the DTRD. Any company or any stakeholder who gains that qualification should have gone through quite some vigorous, and there is continuous monitoring by customs.
Right.
Once you have received that classification, you are monitored also along the line. Sometimes some checks can be conducted just to confirm that whatever declarations you have made are indeed what is happening on the ground.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So which other one would you want to expatiate on?
Maybe I'll quickly talk about the Advanced Passenger Information System. This will be deployed at the airport. So this is an electronic system that will enable supply of data on travelers and the cargo they are traveling with to be provided to customs and other related security agencies ahead of the arrival of the aircraft into our jurisdiction. What advantage this gives?
Raymond, please hold on. Let's go on to the phone lines and welcome Yao from Tema onto the lines. Once he's done, you continue with your submission.
Okay.
Hello, Yao. Good evening, sir.
Ken, and good evening to Raymond. The whole problem. Yes, I would like to contribute to the discussion.
Please go ahead, sir.
Yes, what Raymond is talking about right now, I think it's not correct because their system is not end-to-end. One, because, yes, the system is not end-to-end because they have refused to implement the safe force or framework of standards. The safe framework of standards, they have refused to implement it. Why am I saying this? Because one, it comprises of about some of the most important, the core active ingredients in the safe force is the implementation of the WCO data model and the UCR, that's Unique Consignment Reference, that will allow you to integrate with every customs outside because that, especially the UCR, is the key to any customs handling of import-export trade within any customs system. But this customs system has truncated that process. For example, the UCR should not be generated here. Import UCR is a requirement. You require for the number. You request for the number. Then they generate it from the country of export. You see, but you have truncated all these things. So it means our system is leaking badly. I think you asking how can they check those systems then? They have truncated the system. The customs system is not correct. ICUMS is only facilitating fraud at the port. To be frank with you, the fact is that they are not doing the right thing.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Yaunsia. But I think that there's a general consensus by the users of the system that it is apt. It is the best thing that has happened to Ghana. But I think you've heard him. What have you got to say to what he's saying? He says, you guys are, the system is not end-to-end and whatever.
Anyway, thank you very much, Mr. Sia. I beg to disagree with you. And Kenneth, just like you mentioned, the general consensus is quite different from what Mr. Sia is talking about.
Is quite clear.
Talking about the WCO data model, the UNIPA system is built on that model. Currently, as I speak, there are engagements with our neighboring countries for transit data sharing. There are 17 message exchanges. As I speak to you, Kennedy, Ghana, we are ready to share with our neighboring countries. The delay in the deployment of this is because our neighboring countries are not at the level at which we are to be able to share this data amongst us.
Right.
There is a need for API connections. They need their systems to be able to talk to our systems.
To align.
And there are 17 messages and we are ready.
Right. Okay, so you were making a submission on the listen. Can you please finish that, and then we'll come to some messages here.
I was talking about advanced passenger information system.
Yes.
I mentioned that this will be deployed at the airport. So it's an electronic system that will enable the submission of relevant information on passengers and the cargo they are coming with to enable customs make advanced preparations. So customs are able to profile both the passengers and the cargo and ensure that the necessary treatment and duties are collected, with such passengers. And like I mentioned, the various security agencies are also able to have access to this system, and they're able to treat passengers based on the profiles that have been received from these submissions from the various airlines prior to the arrival of passenger and cargo. There are some occasions where people might come along with goods, and they might not be able to come with all of the goods, maybe because there is not enough space in the aircraft. Subsequently, the goods must come on a different aircraft. All these details are obtained in advance, and customs position themselves as to how to manage these processes ahead of their arrival. So this will be used at the airport. Maybe another one that will be of interest to our stakeholders is
before you come to the
auction.
one, the e-auction, yes, which is also of interest to me anyway. This one says, "Good evening. I am Jones from Techiman. Thank you very much for this discussion. Please ask your guest how durable are their tracking devices, because we have witnessed some situations in the past where persons who want to divert cargo wait for the batteries of the tracking devices to go off, and then they divert."
No, it's very true. People apply for the devices. They are issued the devices. They are supposed to take off on their journey, and sometimes they go park. But like I mentioned, there is this monitoring facility on the system, which is available to all the relevant stakeholders, talking about customs and national security. So where a cargo has been parked, the signal is received, let's say, at the strong room, where customs are doing their monitoring, national security are doing their monitoring. So after a certain while, they come together and there's a swoop. And then they go to fish out these individuals, and the necessary treatments are given them. So it's true. Sometimes people just deliberately go park and wait, hoping that the batteries will run down. But the advantage we have is that our batteries are supposed, when they are fully charged, they're supposed to last for about a month. And the good thing too is that the location of the device is available to customs. So where, like I mentioned, you have been stationed for a long period, there's supposed to be an action taken on you.
All right. This one says, "Good evening, I am Port. Kindly ask your guest what has been some of the challenges they faced during the implementation of the first module, and how do they intend to address that in the second phase?"
Obviously, the challenge we faced was with stakeholder collaboration at the very initial stages, for various reasons. The level of appreciation of the system was not that up there, and it took a while. It took a while for various stakeholders to come on board, and I'm glad to say once again that we've had very, very good collaboration with all the stakeholders. In fact, after a very few months of the deployment, the efficiency of the system was quite obvious to all the stakeholders. So people began to have a change of perception. Of course, Kennedy, change is not easy, and to change from what systems we had to a new one, people had become very comfortable with ways of conducting business to customs over the years, close to about 18 years or so. So the reception and the collaboration was not the very best. But once we rolled out, it's been very good. You heard me mention that we are at very advanced stages with the second phase models. We have been having very consistent engagement with the stakeholders, and there's been no noise in the port community about anything happening. But there has been a lot of work, a lot of support. We've received a lot of information and feedback from all the various stakeholders. So we are quite confident that this challenge has been overcome.
Okay. This one says, "Good evening, Ken and your guest. Please ask Raymond how he would rate the ICUMS and how they operate versus other trade facilitation tools deployed in other African countries, in other West African countries. How would you rate? It's from Mike in Takrade.
I would prefer that Mike and other users of the system would rather give us a rating, which will serve as a feedback for us. Kennedy, on a daily basis, we are engaging stakeholders. On a daily basis, we have all the stakeholders on the supply chain, on the system. So we are always taking feedback. I would prefer that we receive the ratings, but talk about comparing our system with what we have in the neighboring countries. I'm glad to mention that we've received visits from a number of countries in West Africa, even as far as Southern Africa. They've heard of what great strides we are making in Ghana with our port processes, and they have visited to come and find out what it is we are doing differently from the other African countries. So, and we're seeing some traffic come through from neighboring countries because we have a lot of efficiency at our ports now. Kennedy, as I speak now, you should be able to clear your goods within a day. If your declarations to customs are on point, within a day, you should be able to take delivery of your goods out of the port. And you don't have to make any payments to anybody. You don't have to, whatever bills you have to pay, the system generates it. And when you have made payment, the system recognizes it. And you are able to be allowed by the system to proceed to the next stage of the process. So this is where we are.
All right. Okay, so walk us through the e-auction, which is of interest to a lot of people.
Okay. Currently, Kennedy, a lot of the processes for auction are manual. So we have engaged the stakeholders to develop an e-auction model. We have some unclaimed and uncleared goods at the port. So after
what's the difference? Okay. Unclaimed,
so
uncleared.
For unclaimed goods, these are goods for which BOEs have not been declared and therefore matched against the cargo. So the cargo is there. It's like we don't know the owner. And then for uncleared, there is a BOE declaration on the cargo, and therefore we know the owner. But the owner, after a certain period of time, after discharge, after a certain number of days per customs laws, you are supposed to take delivery of your cargo. If you haven't, then it goes to UCL. Okay? Yes. So for unclaimed and uncleared cargo, when the period is expired, there are some processes we have developed on the system which will enable e-auction of such cargo. Now what will happen is that, so there is a verification and an approval of the UCL, that is unclaimed cargo.
We have uncleared cargo list. We have unclaimed cargo as
both
well.
Both of them, they go into UCL. So after, there is verification and then there is approval of this list. This list is submitted to, I'm just summarizing the procedure, the process. Submitted to the Commissioner General for his approval or his consent. Once this is done, it is gazetted. Once it is gazetted, now an approval is done on which ones should be auctioned. So the quantity, the lot, the type of good, the details are made available on ICUMS. And then there is the opportunity for people who have pre-registered with the system to bid for such goods. The good thing is that the goods would have to go through classification and evaluation so that there is a floor price. Sometimes people have complained that there is a cargo which duty is, say, 20,000. The owner is not able to pay 20,000. The goods are auctioned for, say, 10,000. And it's a loss of revenue to the state, and the true owner of the cargo is also not able to take benefit of his cargo. So there is classification and valuation that is done on this cargo. So there is more or less like a floor price, and then the bidding is done online. And then the winner, whoever wins the bid, the system notifies the person. The person makes a BOE declaration, makes payment, and then takes delivery of the cargo. But all along the chain, if the owner of the cargo decides that he is now ready to come and pay the necessary duties, he is allowed to do that and claim. So the expectation is that there will be a lot of transparency and there will be a lot of compliance when it comes to our auction processes once the e-auction model is deployed.
Tell us the kind of goods that would be applicable in terms of e-auction.
All goods.
Vehicles,
everything. General goods, even all goods. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So when are we expecting the phase 2 to be deployed, and how do you expect it to impact trade, and how different will it be from what is currently persisting?
The deployment of the phase 2 models, we are expecting to be completed by the end of the first quarter of this year. It's our expectation. Like I mentioned, there are a number of them. We are already running pilots with the involved stakeholders. So we're not making any noise. You don't hear anything. Okay. But a lot of work has been done. Then we are deploying them as and when we have fully engaged the stakeholders and provided the necessary training. Then we deploy. So currently for the customs lab activities, where either the customs officer, the MDA, say EPA or GSA or FDA, they can make a request, or even the declarant can make a request on the system to customs lab officers for a test to be done on a product. Okay? When this is done, the information is available on the system. If this information needs to be shared with any relevant stakeholder, it is done. As I speak, this has been deployed. It's a phase 2 model. It's been deployed already. And like I mentioned, we are already running a pilot on the authorized economic operators. Now, the expectation is that by the time we have deployed all the ICUMS models, we would have even improved what services we are providing, what processes we are going through with regards to the trade supply chain. As I mentioned earlier, Kennedy, our goal is to ensure that we have a system which is favorably comparable to any that is being used in any advanced country. So these other aspects which we have not taken into the system yet are what we are going to add. There is also a performance management model which would indicate what the performance of the officers are on the system.
Okay.
So by the time we have deployed all these models, we are expecting that we would even have enhanced trade facilitation a lot more. We would have enhanced the security at our various entry and exit points. We would have ensured an improvement, a continuous improvement in our revenue generation as a country through our ports. So this is what we expect to achieve by the time we have fully deployed the phase 2.
Right. So you mentioned 3 of the modules that you're going to be implementing in phase 2. Can you give us one additional one that is quite key?
Okay.
Just one, and then we wrap up.
We have the which one would be of more interest to?
Yeah, the public.
The public.
Yeah, because you listed 6. I counted 15 of them.
Okay.
You said there were even additions that you were considering. Yeah.
Let me talk about the e-wallet. There are instances where, in the payment of your duties and taxes to customs, you would have overpaid. Take for example, you had a short landing. Let's say you were expecting two cargo, 20-footer containers to arrive. Maybe one arrived, one couldn't arrive. But you have taken advantage of our pre-manifest declaration and made payment already. Now, it means that you have overpaid to customs.
Yeah.
We have the e-wallet where this overpaid amount can be lodged into. And then in your subsequent transaction with customs, where you have been given a bill, you are able to select your e-wallet to clear your bill, with customs. So this is one other interesting model we are working on and bringing on board.
Okay, so it means that people can take advantage of it, and once you even overpay, you don't have to be afraid because you know that you are sorted.
We also have the duty drawback or the rescheduling. Okay, so with the duty drawback, if you have overpaid, you have to use the system to obtain your funds back. If you don't want to take it back, then you can use the e-wallet. Then where you are not able to pay for the cargo, the duties and taxes, there is the rescheduling model. You're able to apply to the Commissioner General and you get a bond, and you are allowed to pay a certain percentage, and the remainder spread over a certain period, and then you are able to pay by which time you have already taken the cargo, but you are giving some time by customs to effectively complete your payment. This is also being handled on the system.
All right. So it's been a very beautiful journey. Not without the usual challenges that you would face. All in all, you've been able to surmount these challenges, and your story is a beautiful one as ICUMS, as Ghana Link, and everybody attests to that. We are grateful to you. We thank you for also partnering Ion Port, and we know that our relationship with you will continue and continue and continue. Look into the cameras and tell your stakeholders, I mean, those that you've worked with all this while, that has resulted in these results that you have chalked, these successes that you have chalked, and tell them what you expect of them, what they should expect of you, and then we wrap up.
We would like to say a very big thank you to all our stakeholders. I would like to mention all of them. There are a host of them. We are very grateful for the support. Since the rollout of ICUMS, the collaboration, the feedback, the various stakeholder engagements we have had has been very, 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 very crucial. Like I mentioned, we are still enjoying this collaboration with the rollout of our second phase models. The promise we want to make to our stakeholders is that we are for continuous improvement. We desire to ensure that our systems are up there. So stakeholders should not hesitate to give us true feedback and even suggestions for improvements as we continue the journey. And we promise that we would work very closely with all of our stakeholders to ensure that Ghana is the beneficiary at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Thank you
so very much. Mr. Raymond Amaglo is the Director of Operations at Ghana Link Network Services, the operators of the Integrated Customs Management System at the port. In fact, they are the go-to organization in terms of trade facilitation at our ports and points of exit and entry. We've been discussing an overview of the ICON system and what to expect in phase 2, which he said will be rolled out pretty shortly. He listed 15 of them. He says the additions they are considering. And so, I mean, these are things that you want to look out for and learn and know how you can benefit from it if you are a stakeholder in this environment that we operate in. Well, this is how we draw the curtain on this evening's edition of Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Many thanks to our sponsors, Ghana Link Network Services, operators of ICUMS. We have the Ghana Revenue Authority, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Serene Insurance. We say thank you to all of you, and Goyle Company Limited. Many thanks to you all. We are grateful to you for your partnership with us on this journey of a lifetime. My name is Kennedy Mona. God willing, we shall bounce back with another wonderful edition of Iron Port here on this same network. Remember, the abridged version of the show is aired on Ghana Television every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. We thank you so much and have a super week ahead. We're out of there.